Good morning, students of Algebra 2. So we are on day 2 of our review of graphing linear functions. Yesterday we talked about how to graph a function when it's in slope-intercept form. Very easily, we need to make sure y is all by itself, and then we're automatically going to be in slope-intercept form. We have our x term first, and then our constant, which is just our number off to the right. So our slope and our y-intercept, once you know your slope and your y-intercept, we can easily graph. Today we're going to talk about what if the original is not already in slope-intercept form like it was yesterday. And very simply, all we need to do is to make this standard form look like this, we need to get the y all by itself. Okay? So one extra step here. So number 2 is a review from yesterday. First thing we ask ourselves, are we in slope-intercept form? Are we in y is equal to mx plus b form? The answer is yes. So what is my starting point? Well, we always start with our y-intercept. It's a -5, so I start down here at -5. And my slope tells me to go, what do you think? It's -4, so is that up 4 or down 4? Well, -4 means I go down 4, but I ran out of room. I mean, I want to go down 4, right 3. So I know the graphs can look something like this. Well, what's the total opposite of down 4, right 3? Up 4, left 3. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, left 1, 2, 3. We have our 2 points, and we can connect those. Make sure the line goes through the points, and finally make sure we have arrows, because we know this goes in both directions forever. Just like one of your homework problems from yesterday, when there is no y-intercept over here, it is actually a number there. It's actually a 0. So our starting point would be at the origin, because where's 0 on the y-axis? Well, 0 is right here. So our y-intercept is 0, and then we look at our slope. Since it is a +3, I know I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I always go to the right, the bottom number. So over 2, so up 1, 2, 3, right 2. How many points do we need to draw a straight line? All we need is 2, so I can connect my dots. A straight line. Some arrows on, and we are done. So that's pretty much review from yesterday. How about these? Well, the first question is, are we in slope-intercept form? The answer is no. How do I know that? Well, the y is not all by itself. So this is going to be difficult to graph unless we can get this y all by itself. So if I want to get that green y by itself, the question is, who needs to leave? Well, the 3x has got to get out of there. And then we need to get rid of that 5 somehow. So the way I like to think about it, imagine that y is trying to get by itself, and these are his friends. Who's closer to the y, the 5 or the 3x? Well, the 5's really close. These are really good friends. Look at how close they are. So we're going to get rid of him first, and then we're going to say goodbye to our good friend last. So how am I going to make a 3x go away? What's the opposite of a +3x? -3x. Remember, we need to do that to both sides. So essentially, we're just solving this equation, but now we have multiple variables. So same thing over here, subtract 3x. So those are gone. That's what we wanted. 5y comes straight down. Now how do I do this? What does -15 take away 3x? Well, I can't say it's -18. I can't say it's -18x. Why? Do you remember? Why can't I add these together? These are not like terms. So if they're not like terms, I can't combine them. So I got to leave them separate. But I'm trying to put it in y is equal to mx plus b form, so the x term goes first, so -3x, and then the -15. And one final step, this says 5 times y, so how am I going to undo that operation of multiplication? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. Now if I divide the left side by 5, I need to divide every term on the right side by 5 as well. Now why did I do that? Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1. So I got 1y, or just y. Remember, the whole point was to get y all by itself. So now we're done. Let's finish up over here. There's nothing I can do with this. So negative 3/5 x. How about this? Can I reduce this at all? What's a negative 15 divided by 5? Well, negative 15 divided by 5 is 3. So, what did we do? We went from standard form, which is difficult to graph, into slope-intercept form. So these are the same exact equations, just different forms. Just like if I put on a shirt, I'm still Mr. V, or if I put on a different shirt, I am Mr. V with two different shirts on. So the same exact equation, just looks different because we're in different forms. So now let's review. We have our slope, we have our y-intercept. So the y-intercept is negative 3. So I'll make a point down here at negative 3. What does my slope tell me to do? Negative 3. So I'm going down 3, down 1, 2, 3, and over 5, to the right 5. So down 3, down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make a point. We've got 2 points, connect those, and put some arrows on the end. There you have it. Same thing here. Number 5. Remember, we're trying to get this y all by itself. So just if I said who needs to leave, who's on that left side that is not that green y? Well, 4x has got to go, and the negative 5 has to go. So who's further away from that green y? The furthest away is this 4x. Well, how do I get rid of a positive 4x? What's the opposite? Subtract 4x. Now why would I do that? Well, I want him gone, and what is 4x take away 4x? 0. Remember, this is an equation, so I can't just subtract 4x on the left side. I need to balance it out by subtracting 4x on the right side. So that's gone. What comes down? Negative 5y, equal sign comes down. Are these like terms? Can I combine these? No, they are not. This is an x term. This is a constant. So I can't combine them, so they need to stay separate. Well, who's going to go first? Negative 5 or negative 4x? Remember, the x term goes first, so negative 4x, and then the negative 5. What operation is this? Is this negative 5 plus y, or is this negative 5 times y? Remember, when you have a number smushed up against your variable, we are talking about multiplication. And what is the name of the number that is in front of the variable? Coefficient. This is your coefficient. So we divide both sides by that coefficient. Same thing over here. Divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. Notice because this was a negative, I had to divide by a negative. If this was positive 5, I would divide by positive 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1, so what I get 1y. So that's the whole reason we did this. And let's simplify on the right side. What's a negative divided by negative? Well, they cancel out to make positive. Does 4 over 5 reduce? No, I got to leave it just as 4/5. X comes down. And what's a negative 5 divided by a negative 5? Any number divided by itself is always a positive 1. So are we in slope-intercept form? Are we in y is equal to mx plus b form? Yes. So now just review. Where do I start graphing? I need a point. And which is a point? My slope or my y-intercept? Well, y-intercept. Start at positive 1. My slope tells me to go positive 4, which means up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make my point. I've got 2 points. Draw my line. Extend it through both points. Put on my arrows. And this is the graph of this original function, which is also the graph of this function because these are the same exact thing, just in different form. We went from standard form into slope-intercept form. Okay, that's it for the notes. If you guys turn the page over, we have our homework. This one's already in slope-intercept form. This one's already in slope-intercept form. And looks like you're going to have to do some work for 8 and 9 to make it look like these, put them in slope-intercept form. And once again, upload these videos or take a picture of your homework and upload to Google Classroom. Alright everybody, tomorrow we have off, Friday no school, so enjoy your long extended weekend, rest up, eat some healthy foods, do something nice for your family, and we will see you next week.